Hello, Internet. As many of you are familiar, my brother Will and I are business partners, and he's a role model of mine. I've looked up to him my entire life, and I'm super proud to say that we have started a new YouTube channel called Seek Wisdom TV. And on that channel, we're going to interview people that we look up to, that are very influential, that are mentors to us, and also experts in their field. So the following is a clip from an interview that we did today with Dennis Volpe. Now, this might be one of my favorite clips where we talk about the emotional strain, the impact, and just the appropriate way to view failure. So again, Seek Wisdom TV. I'll include a link in the description to that channel, and hope you enjoy.
Yeah, so Dennis, you've seen the highs and you've seen the lows. And when you're in failure, how do you recognize that you're failing at something? And then how do you overcome to get yourself out of that situation?
Well, for me, it was easy. But I say that because I had the opportunity to absolutely have complete and utter mission failure when I was a commanding officer, particularly during a heightened time of increased tensions during forward deployed operations. So, as a professional, I had the opportunity to, absolutely have failure punch me right in the face. So it was really easy to see. But at the end of the day, I also like to think that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And that experience actually opened my eyes to a whole host of different things that I didn't see because I was so myopically focused on my professional life. And I lost focus on a whole lot of other things. But how do you know that you're failing? Well, you have to have goals. You have to reflect on those goals periodically. And and I use the word hopefully, knowing that that's not an action, knowing that that's an emotion, in terms of hope. But I'm hopeful that people think about their goals in a holistic sense, not just, well, what do I want to do work wise, but also what do you want to do life wise in terms of the experiences you want to have, the people you want to meet, the things that you want to do, and grading yourself in all of those areas, not just from a professional standpoint. Did that answer your question, Will?
Yeah, that was a really good answer, Dennis. So, Ryan?
So now, one of the things that I love asking people is, one of my favorite quotes is "Youth is wasted on the young." So, if you were to go back and talk to yourself, a few decades ago, what would be the advice, knowing everything that you know now, to yourself?
Yeah. So what advice would I give my 18-year-old self? That's like the question I like to ask people.
Hmm.
Um, be okay with failing, and it's not an easy thing to think about because that's not how, at least how I was wired growing up. It was, you're going to achieve this, you're going to do this, and you're not going to fail. But the lessons that we get from failure are just as good, if not better, than the lessons we learn from winning. But you actually have to keep score. That's the key piece. And I think that goes back to Will's question. If you're not keeping score, you're not going to know if you're winning or losing. But once you know that, you've lost, well, how do I get to where I want to go? Which brings us all the way back to, well, how do you define success for you? What are your personal success criteria to allow you to, know, truly know that you've lived a life worth living? And it gives you, the opportunity to say, yeah, you know what? I did this. I did it pretty well. But guess what? I did these couple of things and I sucked at those. Absolutely sucked. And it's something that I need to figure out and to be better. And that's why one of the quotes for me that I revisit often is "The Man in the Arena" by Theodore Roosevelt. It was something that was written back in 1910. Part of a speech from his citizenship in the Republic speech when he was in France. And it's
Do you
all
happen to
about
have it
being the man in
memorized?
the arena. It's about absolutely trying to do the deeds and knowing that, guess what? You're not always going to get her done, as they say, right? But guess what? It's the fact that you're in the arena and you're putting forth the effort, because there's always going to be a critic. And sometimes that critic is here in our hearts. Sometimes it's in our head. Sometimes it's both. But you got to get past that. And the only way to get past that is, to fail and then fail better the next time and take those lessons with you. And then provide those lessons to the people that matter. So that way, and I'm a big proponent of a rising tide raises all boats. Maybe that's my nautical background. I'm not sure, but that's what conversations like these are about. Is that we take the wisdom that we have and we impart it on other people so we can absolutely be the best versions of ourselves.
That's a good point. I like that a lot. One of the things when I started reading a lot about successful people, when I first started dipping my toes into like the water of capitalism and entrepreneurship, is you're right. When I started my first company, I just had all this angst about it failing. I didn't want anything to go wrong. And then, as I was developing that company, I realized that all of the like household successful names that we are familiar with have tons of businesses. Some failed, some sold under their belt before they created the one that we've heard about. So I think that's a good word. And I hate this saying so much. I don't remember where I heard it, but it is applicable nonetheless. Is don't view failure as a period, view it as a comma.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thomas Edison, right? How many times did he fail? And he just looked at failure as one step closer to success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I think people are so afraid of failure is that it hurts on an emotional standpoint, maybe 10 times more than having success. So as a commissioned sales guy, I know that losing that one job, it can hurt 10 times more than winning a few other different jobs.
Yeah, but my question to you, Will, is what did you take away from those experiences compared to the lessons you took away from, well, you know what, I won that bid.
Uh-huh.
My guess is, and I'm making a huge assumption, that you won the bid and you're like, awesome, and you kept moving. Versus, you know what, I didn't win that contract. Well, why didn't I win it? Well, because of this, this, and this. Well, you know what? The next time I'm going to make sure that I take care of this, and that. So that way you don't lose it. Or if you do, guess what? Some of those things are outside of our control. And if we continue to focus on the things that we can control in terms of our attitude, in terms of our effort, in terms of our behavior, and those things that are within our locus of control, that's what matters. Because you can't control everything. You can't control somebody else's decision-making cycle. You might be able to influence it, but you can't control it.